everybody, it's Matt of Wrestling with Whiskey back one more time. Not alone this time, joined by my good fella, my good buddy, Shamo. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, what's the crack, mate? I'm doing great, fella. I'm doing awesome. I'm here at the bar. As you can see, it was a dream of mine to have my own gym in my house and a bar in my house, and the bar basically is just right here beside me. So I'm pretty.
Well, now you got both two. You got your gym too, right? You got you got the hell of a gym, the Celtic Warrior Temple.
Yeah. It's I did it when I was off injured last year, and I was like, I got tired of going to the gym. Rusev lives up the road. I used to call it like, I used to slag it off all the time because half the dumbbells are like missing sides of whatever. They don't like. It's just very badly kept. The NAC. And so I was like, I got tired of being stuck in traffic. So he said, what, I think I'll build my own gym. And everyone was like, why are you building your own gym? It's a waste of money. It's this and that. And now in this sort of situation, current environment, it's the best decisions I've ever made.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's an investment, but like, I tell you, I mean, in the long run, paying gym memberships and the traveling back and forth and all that stuff. I mean, just to have it in your own like garage or whatever it is, I think it's well worth it.
Amazing. And like as I said, I get up in the morning, do my fasted cardio. We walk the dogs, and then I come back in and I'll train later on with my girlfriend. So, or I'll box in there. I've boxed in there as well, like one-on-one sessions and stuff. And I've got a lot of multifunctional stuff in there as well. It's just great. I don't have to leave the house, especially knowing what we do, traveling all the time. It's just the fact you don't have to leave the house, especially the older we get, right? It's just kind of like, why do you want to leave the house? It's not like we're going clubbing or anything like you used to, or you know what I mean? So, so I've got the bar. So it's barbell to bar, pretty much what I have in the house.
My book.
Yeah, well, you got to come down here and when this all blows over and have a few.
100%. Speaking of which, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pour my. I busting this out.
Oh, the revival.
Yeah, and we got
in
this.
Honor of the revival.
I think when me and Corbs had gone over there during a European tour, and you set us up with the tour with your buddies there.
Yes. Even though Corbin was slagging off my drink selection on display here behind me.
That's what he does.
I thought I had one here. Where's my one? I am missing. Am I missing one?
You got enough Teeling stuff around there. I know you do.
Oh, I've got lots of Teeling. Stephen Teeling, owner, mate of mine. But, I got one too. It's 12-year.
Okay.
Hasn't been open yet, though.
Nice. That's a good one.
It is. It looks very classy as well,
Yeah, classy the box. When I brought that over for Christmas the other year, it was a big crowd pleaser.
When I first got in touch with Stephen Teeling before he went to the distillery, I was living in Tampa, and I just moved out of my house in Odessa. I moved downtown, and they sent me over a load of whiskey from Ireland, and they had half of the stuff. A lot of it was pretty much like a couple of bottles are missing, and some of the bottles I got were half opened. I don't know. They call it whiskey tax apparently. So a lot of the whiskey was kind of like it was gone. But no, Teeling is great. And actually Teeling is what got me back into whiskey.
Yeah.
Because I growing up in Dublin, like Jameson was like the big one, but like people wouldn't drink Jameson straight. They would drink Jameson with Coke or Jemmy and Red, they'd call it, which is like a red lemonade. You can't buy it here. It's weird. White lemonade, red lemonade. So like white red lemonade, like Sprite, and then a red lemonade. And they mix Jameson with red lemonade. And my always thing is like, if you're gonna put a soft drink in a whiskey, then the whiskey's probably pretty shit. But the first ever whiskey, right? I ever was introduced to was this one here, and this is Paddy. This is Paddy whiskey, and my grandmother every night would basically do a shot of Paddy and she'd do a Guinness, and she had the old school Guinness where you had like the bottle, and they had like the thing for pumping in the nitrogen.
Really? I don't think I've
Did
seen.
old school. My grandmother had a couple of pints of Guinness every day, and she was unbelievable, man. She was like
Yeah.
old school granny. She took care of me and my sister. She did all the messages. She did her own stuff she had to do. She cleaned. She took care of the house, our house, because both my parents were young when I was born. Both my parents were 19 when I was born. So she kind of came in and did a lot. And she like, you'd see her, man. She'd have the whole coat on, the kind of woolly hat on, and she'd have her trolley, you know, and she'd do all her messages. They call them messages, like your shop when they say messages, their trolley. And she'd have like, it would have wheels on it. So she'd just wheel that thing up and down like the street I grew up on, which is North Great Georgia Street. And it was kind of like this, you know, like it was like a pretty good, just pretty good exercise. So that was the first whiskey, and believe it or not, it was Miro Rusev who actually got me back into it because I hadn't seen a bottle of Paddy in a long time.
Yeah.
And I was up at his house, and Paddy said, "I haven't seen that since I was a kid. You know, I never tasted Paddy. I'd seen it, and I was like, my grandmother used to drink it. So I think we polished off a bottle of Paddy when I moved to Nashville. So I'm honoring my grandmother. I'm gonna pour myself some Paddies.
There you go.
It's pretty smooth too. Like it really is.
I mean, that was my first real like Irish whiskey joint. Same thing outside. Hey, cheers, buddy.
Cheers, bro. Let's launch it.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's very, very smooth. Have you tried Paddy?
Yeah. So I was just that was like my first foray outside of like Jameson was the only Irish whiskey I knew as like a teenager into my early 20s kind of thing. But then bingo, that was at every college party I attended.
Oh man, it's absolute shit.
Ew,
this to me is the worst whiskey. Like I feel like
it's
so
rough.
when I got on the road, I remember it was a tradition with Cena and everybody to have like Jack Daniels and Ted DiBiase. It's the Jack, a shot of Jack and a beer, right? And Jack to me, I just disgust them. Then notice there are like I've got the gentleman Jack here.
Sure.
Which is from my sister. Her and her husband came over and they stayed with me and they bought me that, and that's obviously a step up, right? So you haven't got steps up. But this shit here is just the worst. It's just the worst. But for some reason, anytime we go to a bar and they know, Sheamus, let me buy a shot of Jameson. I'm like,
of course.
Oh. Shot of Jameson. It's literally I'd rather drink cat piss, to be honest.
Wow.
It's pretty bad. Thanks.
Yeah.
Let's jump in. No, okay. So yeah, this is not good. This is not good whiskey. But
no.
I will show you one whiskey I do like is a little one is Tullamore Dew.
Oh yeah.
I don't have any regular Tullamore. Do I have any regular Tullamore? I don't think I have any regular Tullamore Dew. But I did get one of these off David Finley Jr. It's a 12-year age triple distilled.
Okay.
Yeah. And back in the day, me and Drew McIntyre polished a bottle of this off.
I've heard good things.
Back in the day.
Yeah. You never know. That day might come around again. You never know.
No. It probably not. It will not. He's a lot smarter now since he's been married. So yeah, she's kicked some sense into him. But
yeah, it does that.
But Tullamore Dew is a good one. Paddy's a good one. And obviously, the feeling thing really got me on the whiskey kick. That was the one that really kind of like when I had some of the single malts, or this is a small batch one.
Okay.
This is
the
bottom of the line. I like this one. I actually prefer that one better than the single grain. I'm not a huge fan of single grain, but this is pretty good. This tailing is really good.
Yeah, and it's always I always like that when like like you said, like the bottom line, like the basic product or whatever. When that's good, it's a nice thing because then you only have up to go from there for their other releases, generally speaking. If you can start on a good level, then everything else in the company generally is pretty damn good.
Definitely, absolutely, and I think that's a great sign with Teeling. Some of their stuff, there's some of the stuff that they have, like some of the top range stuff they have isn't as good. I feel as a single. I think the small batch is really good. And the single malt is phenomenal. But I just feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like with this, you can just sip it. It's good. It's good. That's kind of the first time I ever had a whiskey. You know, it's like just put ice in it. Didn't put any mixture. And obviously, I went back to Tully as well. It's kind of like close enough to that, but it's really good. And you can tell, like Stephen Teeling and the family, I guess they own Coolies. They sold Coolies to Jimmy. So, and I guess they still had a lot of stock from the Cooley stock. I think he just sold the name. They didn't do they didn't sign a non-compete clause. They basically sold the name of Cooley's. I think the Teeling father was involved with a couple of other partners, and then they set up Teeling, and they obviously still had some stuff from Cooley's that they distilled themselves. And now they have their own setup in Dublin, and they've got, as you went there with Corbin, and you saw the whole thing, and they're so passionate about whiskey. They talk about how the whiskey industry was nearly gone because the Scotch companies were buying up because of Prohibition. So when Prohibition came into America, a lot of export of whiskey would go to America, obviously from Irish Americans. Ancestors, and then I guess there was a lot of bootlegging going on, and people didn't know the difference between whiskey, so it was like people get poisoned and going blind because some of this stuff was just like mixed in a bath. And then Scotch came in, and Scotch got like a good name because whiskey was definitely soured, and then all the Scotch companies started buying up all the Irish distilleries, and there was only 4 left. I think it was Tully, it was Tullamore Dew, Jameson, maybe Paddy's. I don't know. Maybe I think it was Paddy and another whiskey company. And they were in one distillery down the country. And then, you know, the revival came back of whiskey, and then Teeling opened up the first Irish distillery since like the 40s or something like that.
Yeah. First in a long time. Look at this, by the way. Like you're getting. Normally it's me spouting out all the nerdy history stuff in the back end. You're riffing it off like a professor. I love it.
You have to justify why I'm drinking whiskey.
I hear that.
It's like when people get the wine, right? And they're like this, and they're kind of going like, oh, this is great, you know, smelling it. They just want to, no, you just want to get tanked. You're just, you know, you want to get hammered. You're just using that sophistication thing about the wine. I will tell you this quick story though. So I was in Dublin a couple of years ago. Girlfriend came over, met me over there. We went to it was basically a wine. It was it was Whiskey Live. Stacey's in the back there. It was Whiskey Live, right? She just landed, picked her up and went home. Stephen says, come out to this Whiskey Live thing. I was like, great, perfect, I will. So it was in Dublin Castle.
Okay.
You know, I'll impress her. I'll bring her down to Whiskey, see Dublin Castle, inside of Dublin Castle, and go to Whiskey Live. So we walk in anyway. We had a drink around the corner. We walk in, and there's this girl there, and she's got this like distraught look in her face. I said, how's it going? What's happening? How is everything so far? She goes, oh, it's good. I said, oh, you just open. She goes, no, we had a session this morning, and then we have a session now. And I was like, okay, so 2 sessions, yeah. Yeah. This is over, the better. And I was like, what's her problem? But you know what I mean? She was like really like, no, she just didn't want to be there. So we walk in, everything is great. It's all well lit up. You've got whiskey from all over the country there, you know what I mean? Like Tully is there, JMO's there, Teeling, like this is Clonbegan, I think, is another one. Like this is so many different types of whiskey. And so we go over, saw Stephen there, had a few whiskeys. How's it going? Give me a little sampler. And then underneath the table, they have like the really high concentrated one, like the one that's like they're not selling, like it's like 80% proof or some mad stuff. We got us like drinking gasoline. But it's all great, you know. People are coming up and going, oh, you're Sheamus, are you? I was like, yeah. Oh, my son's a big fan. I was like, oh, great, yeah. just a picture. Yeah, sure, whatever you want. Take a picture. Everyone's real nice. Everyone's happy. Everyone's like sipping whiskey, tasting whiskey. It's great. We get there. What time now is it? 7:30 or something? Something like 6:30, right? It's great. Everyone's having the crack. Everyone's super nice. Everyone's like, it's brilliant. We're going off to these other whiskey places. You know what I mean? My dad's, went to my dad's mates there with his dad, or his mate. His dad, that'd be pretty old, but like him and his mates, so everyone's having the crack. It's a great time. It's awesome, right? All these people dressed in suits. Everyone looks great. You know what I mean? Half an hour later, bro, 30 minutes later, we look around and there's people there. Their ties are off. Their hair's all over the shop. Women with the lipstick off to the side. They're going, hey, girl, come on, here's a picture. I'm like, what the hell is going on? They're grabbing me. There's a drink. I'm like, I turn around and I says, what the hell? What's happened? And Stephen Tina's coming in. He's grabbing me. He says, get out of here. Get out of here. I said, what's going on? He goes, they're locked. Everyone's locked in 30 minutes, man. 30 minutes. There was whiskey everywhere. Free whiskey. Tasters. Everyone was hammered. It went from the set of Downton Abbey to bleeding The Walking Dead in 30 minutes, man. In 30 minutes.
Holy.
People were licking the walls. People were licking the walls. And I don't know what they were doing, mate. But we got out of there. I was like, what was that? And I was like, Jesus, don't ever. So whatever you do, the message is, if you have any Irish friends, don't ever invite them to a free bar, because they'll drink as if it's the end of the world.
No kidding. Holy crap, 30 minutes.
They went from the set of Downton Abbey to The Walking Dead in about half an hour, man. I am not joking you. I couldn't believe it. And then I realized the girl who was at the desk, I realized why she was the way she was. She's probably traumatized, but it's changing in the earlier session. And she was getting herself mentally ready for the second session.
That one. How long is the session supposed to be?
I think it was a couple of hours, wasn't it? I think it was a couple of hours. So remember what I said about Jameson?
Yeah.
So there is a bright spot to JMO, and it's called, it's this one right here.
I've had that one.
Yeah. So I was at home, mate Ray, and he said he had JMO. I was like, I'm not drinking JMO. He goes, it's Jameson Black Barrel. So I hadn't tasted this before, and he said, could I have a shot of Jameson Black Barrel? I was like, okay, like I'll do it if you want me to, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to think of the bar. All right, Devitt's, right?
Okay.
Bar called Shaw. It's just on Camden Street. It's around the corner where my mate Ray lives, and we go to Shaw all the time. They have a beer there called Scraggy Bay, which will blow the brains out of you. It's just like, you can't have more than 2 pints of Scraggy Bay. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't remember anything for a week. So we were there, had a couple of pints, as is customary for me and Ray to have a pint or two. It's like a dive bar across the street, right? Like maybe 5 people in there or whatever. And then he has a mate who lives next door to him, and he loves Devitt's, right? Devitt's it's a very, very popular bar. It's on right across the street. But in Devitt's, you can actually have you buy a bottle of whiskey way over market value. But what happens is you basically pay for like a cabinet, right? The store, so you can walk in the back. It has your number. You get a number. Let's say.
Oh yeah.
And it has all these open presses, and you basically have your whiskey. And you have a key to your whiskey, so you can basically go and you give them the key. They open it, and they bring out the bottle of whiskey. And he's got a bottle of Jameson Black Barrel. So we're all sitting around having a chat, catching up, and he brings us in. And I'm like, okay, change my mind on Jameson. So first class. So brings this up. And then pick it up, slant it, and completely changed my mind on Jameson.
It's very different. The one thing they have going for them, they do have especially now, have a pretty wide line of product.
Yeah.
They got the
coffee.
caffeinate stuff now. They've got that. I mean, there's like
Yeah.
eight,
There's a
18
coffee.
year old.
I got a coffee one there somewhere as
Yeah,
well.
there's like a cold brew coffee stout, like barrel aged. Yeah, they're doing all kinds of stuff now because they're talking about Irish whiskey in general. Uh, from everything I'm hearing, is like kind of potentially the next exploding category in whiskey. There's so much going on there right now with places like Teeling, like a lot of the other ones. I know
Yeah.
Tullamore Green Spot is blowing up.
Green Spot's huge. I got a bottle of Green Spot for Christmas. I never heard good. Yeah.
Yeah, there's tons and there's new ones opening, stuff like that. There's tons of stuff going on. It's a super right now. It's like it's kind of like just rumbling underneath, but I think it's going to be start. Irish whiskey's really going to start blowing up in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think as long as you appreciate it, as I said, it's still whiskey at the end of the day. But like, there's a lot of whiskeys out there for doing shots, like regular Jameson, you do your shot. Proper 12 people do a shot, proper 12. You know what I mean? Like, so they'll watch MMA stuff, so they got like, but they're not whiskey drinkers. They just buy the proper 12 because it's like forever easy. Let's do a shot. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like regarding like stuff like you would be shooting this or Teeling or patties. You know what I mean? That's more with a in a glass yeast or whatever. I feel I don't know what's your conception about Scotch? I've never been a fan of Scotch ever since I had Johnny Walker's. I've had the good stuff too, and to me, it's just an aftertaste. That kind of like I don't know. I feel like when I drink Scotch, I just feel like I don't know. I'm just not a fan.
I mean, for me, so like I've been kind of raised as in the whiskey world on like bourbon, American whiskey, rye, stuff like that. So
like this stuff.
A little bit, yeah, exactly. Woodford.
Are you a fan of this? Are you a fan of Woodford Reserve?
I like Woodford Reserve as a company. I'm not. Their regular bottling, I think, is okay. Right. But they're double oaked. They have a double oaked product. They call it. That's actually pretty darn good.
This shit's expensive though, right?
That's probably about $40.
Okay.
It's not cheap, but it ain't like breaking the bank expensive.
Bourbon was making my moonshine.
There you go.
This is what you told me to get, right? This one.
That stuff I love. Yeah. To me, that's one of the best values in bourbon.
Okay.
High proof, good age.
Even the cool top of that, even the top of that's really good.
Yeah, like the wax. When you go and tour them, you can dip your own bottle in the wax and stuff like that. It's kind of fun.
Where are they? Where is Knob Creek at?
Claremont. Jim Beam makes Knob Creek.
Is it Kentucky?
Yeah. So they're in Claremont, Kentucky.
It might be worth a good excuse to go to Kentucky.
Hey.
Up the road, Paris.
That's right. I mean, you got Jack Daniels right up the road from you as well.
We were there. We went to Jack Daniels. I came home with this.
It's that flavored honey. They
the face in it too.
I try not to get snobby when it comes to flavored drinks. They're super popular and there's a place for them. I just generally don't drink them.
Yeah, it's like the Alco Pops thing in the 90s, you know.
Yeah, it's true.
Alco Pops became pretty big and pretty popular. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree.
But you were talking about Scotch. Scotch, like I kind of had the same thing, which is like my dad always loved it. Whenever I always thought it was weird aftertaste. Anything with peatiness, I thought was kind of dirty and earthy, and I didn't like it. But I had a friend who actually, his name is Bry Simpson. He works for Ardbeg, and which is a super peaty Scotch. But I actually met him at Mania. He was in town for Mania, and when we were in New York last year, and met him and his girl out, and we went to a bar in Brooklyn, and he just started walking me through Scotches, and I had some excellent whiskeys. I mean, especially some of like the really nice like sherry cask aged
Right.
scotches or whatever. They're so like they're almost like dessert. We had this one. It was like a Pedro Jimenez sherry cask finish, like 14 years old. It was delicious.
Wow.
So sometimes it's just finding the right one. It kind of like I mean, just it's like with the Irish. Sometimes like you might be not getting to the Jameson, but you find a Paddy's, you find a Teeling, and it might turn your mind.
So the Johnny Walker's is not a good brand,
Johnny Walker's a huge brand. Um,
but is it more of the Jameson vibe?
it's
Of
I would say it's a step above. I don't think it's, but it's just it's the Jameson of Scotch in the sense that like that's the Scotch that's going to be in every bar on planet Earth. You know
yeah.
what I mean? You from here to Singapore, you walk in, you can get it. Give me the Johnny Walker or whatever. Just because it's owned by a huge company called Diageo, and they're everywhere around the planet.
Diageo on Guinness. Diageo on
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah, I mean, a ton. So
Yeah.
I'm wanting to get into everything. I want to get into all of it. But there's just so much in every category of whiskey, so many brands and labels and bottles and stuff. So it's going to take
Uh,
some time.
you know what's funny? Going back to like, so when you talk about whiskey and everything, like originally before, everything went downhill after the prohibition in the States. There was hundreds of different whiskey distilleries. Especially walk into Teeling. For anyone watching, you've got a Teeling distillery in Dublin. It's awesome. One of the first things you see when you go on a tour is you see all the stuff like this. I don't want to move it. I don't want to move it too much, but it's like we see the Teeling thing behind me, like
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing, like stuff like that. But you like all these companies, whiskey companies I've never even heard of, which I'm sure my grandparents knew of or whatever, but like just gone. But like there was so many different whiskey companies, and I think it's actually that's exactly what's happening right now. There's so many whiskeys popping up, so many new ones. I think that it's really getting back to what it used to be.
Yeah.
But
100%.
definitely the whiskey has held the Irish people back. If you watch that episode of Family Guy where the history the Irish are the best scientists in the world until one of them invented whiskey.
Was the death of all of it. But no, it's freaking, and like I said, now it's like it's this renaissance all over the world. Like, and I think it's for all, especially Irish, I know, but like bourbon and rye is getting huge. Scotch has always been riding pretty high, but they're on a good upswing too. Like whiskey around the world it's a good time for whiskey brands. That's
Yeah. Speaking of whiskey around the world, when I was in Japan for the World Cup, I met a good fella who gave me some of this.
okay.
A castle.
Nice.
I didn't realize how much of it was gone.
Must be good then.
It was really good. That's a Japanese triple distilled whiskey. Japanese Irish triple distilled whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had Japanese whiskey, Shamo?
Yeah, you get. So I brought some back from my brother-in-law because I remember I met you that time. We were going out that time, and you found a really really cool liquor store.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. That was it's really really good. But I think I gave some to my girl's dad and my sister's husband. My brother-in-law, he took some as well. He loved it.
Okay.
But here's the great thing about whiskey now, I feel. You talk about Scotch, every drink has a stigma to it, obviously like beer, Budweiser, etc. in America would be considered like the blue collared guys
Right.
drink it. Ireland Guinness would definitely be the man's choice, like from 30 onwards maybe, like I remember growing up, even like cider would be like kind of the 18 to 20 drink, and then you'd have like a couple of beers. I think it was Harp would have been a big one. It's not as big as it used to be. Harp, Smithwick's, but then and also American beers. But then like Guinness will be something from 30 onwards. It'd be a very very popular drink in Ireland. But like I remember Scotch would have a very very kind of like yuppie kind of stigma to it, And that's the thing, or thing about whiskey, I feel is like there's no real stigma to it. I think it's becoming a drink that everybody can enjoy and everybody knows about. It's not like a class thing because what
Yeah.
be with certain drinks. I think it's like if you like a whiskey, go get it.
Yeah, that's I think that's 100% true.
Which let's bring us to this.
Oh baby, that's right.
This is last year's, right?
Okay. Yep.
I believe, and then I got this off Corbin.
Oh, okay. Good.
This year's.
Yes.
Now I was devastated, by the way, because I asked you could I be involved in this, and you said I could, and then I got left out of the loop.
Oh, I know, and that I take the heat on that one.
It's okay. So what we're gonna do is this is last year's, right? So I'm gonna you told me. So I want you to explain to everyone what I'll put it
here. Yeah. So basically, yeah. So Shane got there. He got our two Whiskey Mania picks that we did with the place called New Riff Distilling, which is Newport, Kentucky, which is basically Cincinnati. It's literally right over the river, over the border from Cincinnati. And so
home of Carl Anderson. The home of Carl Anderson.
That's right. The machine gun himself. And so me and Greg Hamilton, with a friend of his or whatever, had looked into them, and you can buy barrels for individual stores or restaurants, like individual barrels, and they can all be unique and different. All the distilleries do this.
Amazing.
But most of the time, you have to be a restaurant or a store because you have to have like a relationship with distributors and all this kind of mumbo jumbo. But New Riff, New Riff, they were offering to do quarter barrels, which comes out to about, I think, like 10 cases, 60 bottles to the individual. Like, so if you wanted to come buy it yourself, you could. So we got a couple people together for that first one, just like, hey, let's give it a try. And then there was a store owner in Northern Kentucky who's like, hey, I've seen your guys' stuff online or whatever. I'll jump in with you if you don't mind, and I'll buy the rest of the barrel, whatever barrel we decide to pick, and I'll sell it in my store. And that way, more of it, and we can get the Wrestling with Whiskey name out and everything, and just kind of grow it from there. And so that was 2 years ago, or last year, excuse me, feels longer, that we did the first one. And then, this year, we did 2. So that's Whiskey Mania 2.
So this is okay. This is still on. The barrel is still on the 2015. Mm-hmm. And it was bought, and this one is it was barrel is still. So it's like 4 year distillery.
4 years right now. They've got some older stuff. They started distilling, I think, in 2014 or 2015. So
what I really like though is the bottle is awesome. It's a really cool bottle. It's it really is awesome. I think, like, especially when you're at like a bar and stuff, and obviously pick off this off Corbin for the. But I told Corbin the reason I have this whiskey here is because we're gonna have people over. People don't know about whiskey, so you want to give them stuff that they recognize. They don't care $200, $300 bottle of whiskey. They just want the flavored moonshine, or they want their Tito's vodka or honey whiskey, whatever, you know what I mean? But no, like, especially if you got a bar at home, this is a really, really cool looking bottle. No, that's the first thing I was pretty impressed by the design and shape and everything of it. And also I've got big mitts, but you know what I mean, for anyone else knows whiskey, but like the Teeling bottle, it's kind of hard to hold.
Tiny,
Bottom heavy, it's bottom heavy. But this is good. So I have, this is the first bottle, and this is 2019. This is 2020. So you told me 2020 is even better than 2019.
I think so. It's been a couple of. I finished off my last open bottle of the 2019 of the first. Right, so I have one more sealed, but I'm not opening that until later.
I don't think you ever open that unless you have like
special occasion,
whatever. Or they send you to the moon or something. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, or So double fisted here.
Sure.
So let's go over this one. Am I the only one drinking on the show, or are you going to drink as
No,
well?
I'm drinking my tea lane.
All right. Okay. Well, here we go. Yeah, I know. Put more of that. Look a little empty there, you know. You're gonna put some more in there. Put some more in.
I gotta put more in. This is a bigger glass.
No, the optics on that are not great. There you go. That's better. That's a real Chicago, Illinois.
You're damn right it is.
Okay, so this is to 2019.
Yep.
Which was seemed to be a healthier year than 2020. I really like that, man.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in the palate. See why I said palate there? I was like,
look at you. You're a real kind of freaking store.
I never would have thought in a million years I'd say the word palate, except it was for putting stuff on and loading the truck.
Hey, I never expected to say the word mouthfeel as many times as I've had now.
Oh my God. Rabbit hole. That's pretty good, right? That's really good. This is 2020.
I find this one a little bit more bold and like deep and a little bit more rich.
Two completely different tastes.
Mm-hmm. Same company, same age. Just, you know, one was started a little bit earlier than the other one and finished a different year. But and the company's not huge. They have one warehouse. They have one place where they distill. Like, there's not a whole lot of variation in what they do to make it, but just literally where it sits in the warehouse and what seasons it decided to age in changes that flavor immensely.
And the same recipe, same type of cask.
Same exact recipe. Everything is the same in both.
Wow, is that amazing?
It is. And especially for them, because that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of these Kentucky distilleries have 7, 8, 9 warehouses in different miles away from each other. So I get it. Weather and temperature can be different. They have one warehouse in downtown Cincinnati, basically, and everything ages in one place for pretty much the same amount of time, same ingredients, and yet different barrels can taste so different. That's what's really fun about it.
So who went on the first? It was a Uso. When the Usos went in.
No, he was going to, but then he didn't end up coming in. But it was me, Greg, and then EY was on that one, and a couple of friends.
Eric, that was Eric.
Yeah, it was Eric. So
and this one.
This one was me, Greg, a couple of friends from Cincinnati. Corbin was part of it, but he wasn't there. So we kind of picked on his behalf.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely. That would be great.
There will be Whiskey Mania 3.
I hope so. Yeah, there should be. They're really, really good. And it'd be interesting to see the different style and taste in the two.
That's what. Yeah. So and the day of, you'll see the next time we do it. And I even might be doing other picks. So if I do something if I'm trying to do a Jack Daniel's barrel pick sometime, it's right down the road. Come join me for that if I end up doing that.
Yeah, I told you to come here, man. We'll do a live session here.
Yeah.
Those rooms, the places, at the bars here. Again, it was so funny. I don't drink that much anymore. Maybe once a month I'll have a drink. Like today, it was perfect time between TVs and stuff because we just are TVs. But special occasions, I'll have a couple of drinks. But it was so funny because when I built the bar, I was just kind of don't drink as much as I used to, just because I'm Irish. When you start, it's very hard to stop. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Me and Miro used to have, me and Russo used to have Whiskey Wednesdays before.
I remember hearing about them.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And then it was Tequila Thursdays. If we didn't make Whiskey Wednesday, it'd be Tequila Thursday. It's tequila. It's not as fun. Tequila Thursday is not as fun.
It hurts more anyway.
I think so. yeah, Jenna Loeb telling me about like the George Clooney tequila. What's that one called?
Mm-hmm. Casamigos.
Casamigos. Man, I still remember when I was 18 coming back from America the first time. My mom was living over here. I went over after my leaving cert. 3 months I spent in the US and painting houses. Again, not very great with the sunscreen in Boston, even though it was like in the 90s. I had like my arms were the color of red and the rest
Yeah,
of
oh
them.
yeah. I know that feeling.
You're as pale as I am, Ado. And I had like went back to Ireland with these red arms. And do you remember the old Master of the Universe figures where you can take the arms off and swap the arm? That's what I look like. I look like you took like a really pasty kind of like middle body legs, and he took like red arms off cloth or whatever, and he put them on the side, and that's exactly how I look going home. But anyway, I got a bottle of Jose Cuervo tequila, yellow one, the cheapest shit. I remember we were like, bringing it back. I'm a baller, you know what I mean? 18 years old. Me and my mates drank it, and I swear to God, we were never so sick. We were sick for like about a week afterwards, like just drinking Jose Cuervo tequila.
It is. Oh. And the lower on the shelf you go, the cheaper you go, the worse it hurts.
Dude, we were like kids. You know, I mean, not kids, but like we're teenagers after high school, they say in America. But I remember even knowing then not to drink Blue Label vodka. Don't drink a Blue Label.
It's like I remember in college.
By the way, we thought Smirnoff was like the Rolls Royce.
Oh yeah, that's what I was just about to say, because I'm in college going to the store, and we get the plastic bottle of like Wolfschied vodka.
Bosky vodka or something.
So yeah, for like $10 for a giant plastic, milk gallon of vodka, and start making screwdrivers and stuff with that, and then puking all night.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Smirnoff was like key if you could get it.
If you walked in with Smirnoff at 18 years old, because you can drink in Ireland at 18, you'd be like, man, I'm like, you're like Rolls Royce, bro. You're like, this is, with this Smirnoff vodka, as opposed to the Bosky. But I'll tell you another story. My dad, he likes vodka. He's gone through a phase of wine and vodka, but he's very, very active. He cycles sometimes 50 miles a day. Like he's super active. And I remember like I went home a couple of years ago. First time I had I think it was one of my first injuries, and I got to get home and get expensive time. Because since when I went to America, I went to developmental. It was non-stop in developmental. And then I went on the road, and it was just kind of go. And I never stopped. I was just like, I can't miss any TV. I can't go home. I want to ride this wave as long as possible. And I eventually got hurt. I money in the bank, and I went home. And my dad had this vodka. It was like some Finland vodka or whatever. And it was horrible, And I said to him, I said, Dad, why don't you get this Grey Goose? He goes, Grey Goose? I said, yeah, we're for the local. He saw the price. He goes, what? I'm not paying that for bleeding vodka. You got the Finland vodka over here. You got the Finland vodka here. And you got Grey Goose here. Blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, let me get the Grey Goose. He's like, no, fuck is bleeding vodka. And I was like, Dad, please, just trust me on this one.
Yeah.
I know what I'm talking about. He goes, no, we're bleeding price. I said, I'll buy it. Oh, you're buying it? All right, no worries. So I bought the Grey Goose, right? I buy him the Grey Goose. Tries the Grey Goose goes. It's like basically like this, right? That's bleeding lovely. That's bleeding lovely. So, and I had him drink it without no mixer. So next time I'm coming back from the States, just coming home, I said, do you want anything, Dad? Thinking like you want like a GPS watch or something for his bike, you know what I mean? He goes, yeah. Get some of that Grey Goose vodka, will you? So now every time I come home, I get him a map of Grey Goose vodka, and he's like an 8-year-old on Christmas Day who just got his bike, you know what I mean? It's crazy. And
That's pretty
yeah,
phenomenal.
funny man. Like he just couldn't fathom. Like, why would you spend that?
Yeah.
Would he that for half the price? Like, because you're paying for half the price of what that is, and it's half the quality
Well,
of
yeah.
that is. But yeah, man. Now he loves the Grey Goose. I don't know if he'll buy it himself, but he definitely will let me buy it for when I come home. So
Does he drink? Does he drink whiskey?
no, he doesn't drink
No.
whiskey. No, my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, drinks whiskey, and I do, but he doesn't. A good man of mine, Ray Senior, he was a vodka guy, but now when he started trying that Jameson Black Barrel, he's like, this is delicious, and he'll drink that. He'll drink for 12, and he'll drink whatever now. But I think it's just that initial phase. People become so wrapped up in their habits of what they're going to drink. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a gin drinker, or I'm a tequila drinker, or I'm a whiskey drinker. You know what I mean? Like they get caught up on what they drink, and it's very hard to get them out of that that habit situation. And when you give them something that they like, they're like, oh, that's great. The same thing happened to me. I never thought I'd see myself drinking whiskey. And I think it was because, I'm Irish American, people were giving me Jameson all the time. Every time I was out, oh, Jameson. Like, and then I just kind of like looked into it a bit, and I found Tullamore and found Paddy. So.
That's what all of like, they say that all the time with like whiskey and like the marketing and alcohol in general and spirits. People are so ingrained in their habits that it's all about trying to introduce people to anything, to a new brand, to new something, because people are so 90% of sales across, not everybody's like me or maybe even you, where you buy, oh, I want to try a new bottle of this, I want to try. Most people go to the liquor store, go to the same aisle, get the same bottle every single month or a couple of weeks or whatever it is, and they put it on their shelf and they drink through it for their entire life.
Yeah,
So
we are creatures of habit. There's no doubt about it. And I was too. You know what I mean? There's a club in Dublin for anyone watching this is around my age group. There was called the Fibber McGee's. So Purcell's is still there. That was the first bar. I had it was the first bar I went into in Dublin was Purcell's. They had a rocker bar downstairs. They had the regular bar upstairs, and downstairs they had the rocker bar, and they had it was kind of it wasn't a dance bar, it was kind of like an indies bar, so Oasis and Blur and all these bands, Pulp and everything. People probably just remember Oasis or know there, but they play their music over there. Then they have that hardcore heavy metal guys like Slayer, Cradle of Filth, Metallica over there, and then upstairs regular. We had a couple drinks there, and I went to Fibber McGee's, and everyone was I started training when I was young. I was 16, and people were like, "Oh, beer will make you fat." So now you're thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna get fat if I drink beer, right?" At 18 years old, and then you're like, so you try, a couple of spirits, right? And spirits, everything is measured. Like in America, they go, "You want a double whiskey? Okay," and they just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if it's in Ireland, they have measures, right? Everything's measured, important measure, and important glass. And I remember distinctively, people telling me it's Suddy and Red, Southern Comfort and Red. And I think everybody that I went to school with was on the Suddy and Red vibe. So Southern Comfort and Red Lemonade, that is.
yeah.
I think everybody that in my class who drank Southern Comfort and Red had a really bad puking experience with Southern Comfort and Red.
Oh, yeah.
The worst whiskey of all time. But as I said, it's kind of a situation where you get into something, you try it, and it becomes the norm. And then to break that habit, like Guinness, for example, Guinness was widely considered as an uncool pint. I remember Miller. Actually, I remember the summer I was working in an electrical company. I think it was 95, maybe 96. And I remember Miller beer on draft coming into Ireland, and everybody just losing their shit about it and going "Oh, it's Miller beer." Now you tell it to someone who lives in America, they're like, "What the? What's that?" Same with Budweiser. Budweiser, it's American beer. It's the creme de la creme of beers. They have the commercial stuff behind it, the horses, the trucks, the whole deal, right? Budweiser comes into Ireland, people lose their shit. They're like, this is Budweiser, American beer. This is the beer of the king of beers, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable how powerful, like, how powerful that can be, because people are like, they get behind a certain thing. They're like, well, this has to be the best beer going. But you tell that to someone in America that Budweiser is the best beer going, and it's looking at you like you got two heads and they think you're off your rocker. You know what I mean? The same thing with Miller. But Guinness was considered a very, very old man's drink. As I said, my grandmother drank it when I was a kid. Like, she'd have a shot out of a Guinness, and but to me, it's a great drink. It's super low calorie. It fills you up.
Yeah.
And it's full of iron. You know what I mean? So
it's a good source of iron.
It's like a meal in a glass. We actually went to the Guinness distillery, which itself is like, it's a really cool experience. But
right,
you're just waiting to get to the Sky Bar.
Yeah, and where they can do
like,
for you.
It's like, go to Universal, right? And you're like, you don't have a fast pass, right?
Yeah.
And you're in there and it's packed. And you're standing in line and you're going around the line, and then you finally get on the ride. That's exactly what the Guinness distillery is. It's like, you're waiting. You're walking around all this stuff. Like, yeah, hops, barley, great stuff. Yeah, Arthur Guinness. But it's all
just the line to get to the bar.
Yeah. And my girlfriend never drank Guinness, never thought she would. She knocked about like 3 Guinness into her that night.
Yeah, it's true. I've been. That's the best part. I mean, yeah, you get that 360-degree view of Dublin and everything.
Yeah,
it's a lovely bar.
And fresh Guinness as well. So that was the thing that Guinness had to deal with. They were like, they had a marketing campaign, and it's like, how do we make Guinness? How do we make this product, right? Which is a really great product. It's been around since the 1700s. How do we make this like cool to young people? Because it was considered an old man's drink for a long time, and they did it, man. They basically, now I feel like Guinness is really, really cool. They sponsor a lot of Gaelic Football Association, GA events, hurling,
everywhere.
Yeah, and I put a lot of posts of Guinness up, on my Instagram, hoping that one day they just reach out. You know what I mean? So, Guinness is for me, Guinness is like the ultimate beer. I don't remember the last time I had a proper beer. It's not IPA, but I'll definitely have a can of Guinness, and I won't feel guilty about it either.
Yeah,
I'll have enjoy it, and even if it's from a can.
Yeah, I'm not a really good drinker, but if that is literally, it's the one beer I'll drink. And I grew up on a part. I mean, I got Irish heritage too, so that was like my influence. But once I had it,
From the skin area,
a little bit. But it's lovely. And I had the same experience. My grandpa, it was his Guinness and his whiskey every day at 5 p.m. or whatever, up until he lived with us until he died. His last several years of his life, and him and my dad on the porch every single day. It was his thing, and I had several with him. So like, I'm kind of glad to see it kind of boom back into its popularity and everything again. Because like you said, I mean, it's a good damn drink.
It's a great drink, especially at home. I don't know what it is, like what the story is. Like, obviously it's fresh. There's a couple of things. I remember, like, you have to go to a bar that has sells Guinness. If you're ever, for everybody, like the biggest disappointment for me, obviously, it's apart from Mania not happening, was like the fact that like my favorite bars in Tampa called Four Green Fields. I've had Guinness in there with Cena. I've had Guinness in there with a lot of people who come into town, and it's the best Guinness. And even though it's not the same quality as back in Dublin, because there's a lot of laws that have to be different in different countries, you know what I mean? Especially outside the EU, pasteurization, non-pasteurization. I'm not sure what the deal is, but the key to having a great pint of Guinness is the fact you got to go somewhere that sells a lot of Guinness. So I recently read an article of the fact like NFL stadiums and arenas around the country are having a bit of a hard time because the kegs only last a certain amount of time before they go bad. I don't know if you read that article. They're talking about
that article, but I mean, I'm aware of that being an issue.
So there's a lot of like, a lot of stadiums, ice hockey stadiums, basketball stadiums around the country that like are having an issue because not that's this country, but all over the world, because they can't sell alcohol, right? So they've got a lot of kegs that are just sitting there and they're going bad, right? So they go bad after a certain amount of time. Same with Guinness, but Guinness, because it's kind of a fresher type of stout, it just kind of like doesn't last as well. So what you want to do is, if you find a bar that sells a lot of Guinness, especially where you are now, right? You know, you're in Chicago, Illinois. So many Irish there, Irish Americans. There's got to be one bar in particular that stands out among most that sells a lot of Guinness. And if you do your research right, you'll find it. And that's not just in Chicago. For anyone watching this all around the country, you got to find the best bar that has the most per capita Guinness drinkers. And what happens is, when that line is kept going and that keg is kept going, the Guinness, the better the Guinness tastes. If you go into a place that doesn't sell Guinness, really, or like sells maybe 3 or 4 pints a day or something, you're going to get the probability is you're going to get a bad pint of Guinness. So you need to find somewhere that sells a lot of Guinness, has a lot of Guinness like enthusiasts, because if that keg, once that keg is popped and it keeps going, then you know there's only a certain amount of time before that keg goes off. So if you find a good place like Four Green, if you're living in Tampa, my favorite place above all else was Four Green Fields. They had an abundance of Teeling whiskey and Guinness. Man, you know, back in the day, when I was home for a couple of days, I'd be straight down there. I knew everybody by their first name. Everyone knew what the crack was with me. I knew the crack was with them. Like it was a great place to go. That, to me, that's the idea of a bar. Not going to a super bar where you don't know anybody, but going to a bar like where no, it's not thrilled. You're going in there like to drain your sorrows, but you're going in there because you're mates with the bar staff and you know everybody there. You're having the crack. It's kind of like going and hanging out with your mates. You know what I mean? But they like Four Green Fields have great Guinness. Great Guinness. I remember seeing him being like blown away. He's like, "This is amazing." I told you, bro. I told you.
Yeah.
So, but it's a great drink, as I said. Going off the boil here, but like Guinness to me is the perfect.
And I mean, good. And it makes all the difference. Like you said, if you have some clean lines and you have the way, little things like that can make all the difference in your, and that goes for whiskey, depending on how you drink it and where it's stored and all this stuff. Little things like that can have surprising influences on your drinks and everything like that. So that's a really good point.
Yeah. So here's the best part now, right? Well, I have a kegerator downstairs. I never used it. When I got my first house in Tampa, Florida, I had this movie room set up and everything, and never used it, whatever. But like I had a kegerator. It's still downstairs. I need to get in touch with Guinness, and I want to like basically set it up. But I want it to be like set up for a good occasion. So when you get down and we got Bruce set down and get all the lads down, I want to basically get a keg of Guinness in here. Oh, just hit it down. And then once it's done to sell, I'll get rid of it, give it to charity, or give it to charity. Or the charity, here's a kegerator. Yeah. But like, somebody, you know what I mean? Like just give it out, whatever, give it away, whatever. But like, I feel like it's sitting there for a reason. I've had it since 2013, right? It's now like 7 years later. It's never been used. It's basement. I want a good occasion where I take that kegerator up, I go buy a keg of Guinness, I put it in there, and we go to town on it.
We'll do it like you. I love what you said. We'll come down. We'll have a good time. We'll hang with the lads and everything like that. And then you kind of brought up an interesting idea. Screw it. Kill the keg. Have a good time. Get a group of us, whoever, we'll sign it. Auction it off.
Yeah, I like that idea.
The boys, we had a good time here at a little edit. All this, we can do a little videos thanking. Everybody signs it, and somebody would love to bid on something like that. We can do something like that maybe.
I'd love to do that. Maybe we do it through Wrestling with Whiskey as well. Maybe we do something.
That would be brilliant, and that's
we send it off to a more deserving home, but definitely as do. I've held on to it for this long, Ado, right? 7 years without using it. I feel like I feel like this stage I can't just give it away. It's taking so much storage space. But I feel like I have to use it one time, and then once it's used, then we'll all sign it. Great night out, and then we'll auction off to charity or whatever we need to do about it, and just get it out there.
I love it.
But find a home that will be used more than once every 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it. And I love, I'll take that time. I love the fact that you were able to do this here with me. I really, really, really appreciate it. You have an incredible depth of knowledge on especially like Irish whiskey and beer and everything like that. So people need to hit you up more for that kind of stuff. But seriously, bud, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate your time.
Mate, it was an absolute pleasure. I'll finish off on this. I think it was around 2012, 2013 that I went down to NXT, and Scott Armstrong was there. And I remember like telling me like I was going to have a match with Aiden English, and I remember you doing the singing thing. And I remember it was before St. Paddy's Day, so it probably would have been just over 7 years ago. And I remember like obviously I'd never met you. NXT didn't really have nowhere near the scale of output that it does now, or the level of like followership it has now. And I remember getting in there with you, and it was awesome. I got to sing, I think it was the Irish Rover.
Yes,
Irish Rover.
Irish Rover.
I had never done it. It was like a lot of boundaries for me too, man. I got in there, sang Irish Rover, and then we got in there and we beat the shit out of each other. And I remember like going, just lay it in, man, just lay it in. And is that right? Is that what I said to you?
I remember you like, because people told me when I found out about it, they're like, hey, like he likes to hit and he likes to get hit. So just, be ready. So I remember my biggest memory, I remember I'm stomping you in the corner and you're just going, come on, come on, come on. Like, you're like beating your own chest as I'm kicking the crap out of you.
Oh, dude, it's great. That's me, like, listen, man, for the longest period of time, people were like, oh, Sheamus is stiff, Sheamus is out. I even kicked out Jeff Hardy's tooth. Yeah. And I was like, what do people want, man? Do they want realism, or do they want like, they want just people that like to phone it in? But yeah, I remember like you brought a physical presence to the match. It was great. It was one like I really, really enjoyed it. And I remember from day one, I never forgot about you. You know what I mean? And I saw you come on the main roster and everything after that. But it was a lot of fun. Like NXT events are normally a day off, like for most of the guys who were at that time who were on the main roster. But I got an opportunity to go down there and get in the ring with you. And it was great, man. I'll never forget it. And here we are 7 years later, just celebrating the awesome 2020 edition of New Riff on Wrestling with Whiskey with the one and the only Aiden English. Ado, you're a bleeding legend. Sláinte Gurmila Mahaga the Cara for having me on your show. I'm absolutely privileged. And I still can't do those workouts we put in Celtic Warrior workouts. But trying, Ado. So
yeah.
much love to you. To the future, mate.
Absolutely. Here's to you. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you.
Great to see you too, Ado. Thank you so much for having me on. Cheers.